Hey guys, it's Hema. Today I have a story time. I was contemplating making this story because I know a lot of people probably wouldn't believe me just because it's at the happiest place on earth. But a lot of my friends who I've told this story to have actually said that I should make a video about it because it's not really about Disney. This in no way reflects Disney. It's actually my fault for not reporting what had happened, although nothing too serious happened. It was more of a traumatizing experience. So I'll start off from the top. I'll flip back and forth through moments just because I'll start remembering tiny facts. I think this happened in 2012, which was the last time I had a Disney pass, I think. Or a year before I had my last Disney pass. So 2012, I think I still had one in 2014. Didn't have one in 2013. I don't remember how old I was. I was definitely 15 and up, definitely not 18 yet. So maybe 15 to 17. So what happened was that I wanted to go to California Screamin', and I was with my mom because I don't know where my brother and my dad were at that time. I don't even know if they went to Disneyland. I think they did. But my brother tends to go with girls he tries to meet up with. So what happened was that she didn't want to go, so I went. Sorry, there's hairs everywhere, and sometimes they feel like spider webs. So if you see me going like this with my hair, it's because they feel like spider webs. So I went as a single rider, right? No biggie. I was gonna go by myself. I don't mind sitting with some stranger, right? As long as they're not creepy. Foreshadowing. But so yeah, I was in line. That's when I would still carry around my camera and making videos. So you know what? Holy crap! I think this was, yeah, definitely. I think this was 2014, 2015, because I was still making lots of videos then. So I had my camera around my neck because I record California Screamin' with my Canon, the one that I'm using right now, and because I don't like to use my GoPro, it has the fisheye lens. Anyways. So I had my camera around my neck. There was a guy standing in front of me. Let's describe him as a 90s nerd. You know that stereotype in movies and stuff? Button up top, stripes, maybe white and blue stripes, and then those glasses that go like this, they only cover your eyes part, so they're this small and square. And he didn't have frosty tips, but he had the spiky kind of hair. I don't know if you guys can imagine him, but it was definitely what you'd stereotype as a 90s nerd or 80s nerd, you know, those time frames. So yeah, he was dressed like that, whatever. And his glasses were shade glasses, so creepier. But yeah, so I didn't think much of it. I thought he might have been special. He was acting a little bit weird. He might still be even, and I was just overthinking it, but it was super creepy. So what happened was I was still in line. Everything was cool. This group of 4 people, 2 couples, came and they were standing behind us and they wanted to beat the long line, so they took single riders, and I'm so happy they did. To be honest, I'm so happy they did. So the guy turns around and he's like, "I like your camera," and I'm like, "Oh, thanks." And I thought that was gonna be the end of it, you know, whatever. And I smiled. Never smile. So after that, it was a good while. The people were joking around. The people behind me reminded me of Jersey Shore. They were in tank tops. They were wearing neon colors. They were wearing shades. They were muscular people. You know, typical Jersey Shore people. Except they weren't I guess they just looked like it, but they were young, so they weren't old, you know? They were maybe their 20s or 30s, early 30s, 20s, early 20s and late 20s, between that range, you know? So they were just joking around. They were talking really loud. I don't know if the guy felt lonely or something. he turns around and he's like, oh, I have a lot of cameras too, blah blah, and I'm like, oh, okay, did you bring any, you know, like I don't know much about cameras, but I like to see them. And he said, no, but they're at my house. No, he didn't invite me to go to his house, which was okay. That would have been a major red flag. I would have like ran away, because I was still all the way in the back where like the first single rider people start, like that line starts. So it was all good. I could have just easily ran away. Those group of people could have like let me pass, you know. So yeah, that happened, and then he started standing super close to me. We only have like 2 sentence conversation. Like it was a really short conversation. It was mostly about cameras. Oh, and he asked me who I was there with. So I guess it was like 3 conversations, because he turned around after the camera thing. And then he turned back around like super excited. And he's like, oh, who are you with? And I'm like, oh, I'm here with my mom. And he's like, oh, okay. And that was pretty much it. And yeah, so we kept walking. You know how you have to go up the stairs and then into an elevator, go down the elevator. Or no, go into an elevator, then up this, then you go up, and then you go left so you can go down the stairs, because there's no bridge at the bottom, since single riders start at the bottom, they don't go up the stairs and stuff like that. So that happened, and it got creepier. I was really young. I'm not as like confrontational as I am now. I really don't like confrontation as much, but if I have to say something, I'll say something. So we were in the elevator. I was standing there. I went into a corner because the guy was starting to really creep me out. I don't remember if we had another conversation after he asked me who I was there with. I don't remember much of what we talked about, besides that it was about my camera. He asked me who I was with and if I was alone, you know, certain stuff like that, which should have been red flags, I guess. I mean, we were at Disneyland, so I didn't expect anything weird to happen. So everything got quiet, even like that couple, because we were like the only people, so 6 of us, I guess, with that guy included, yeah. So 6 of us were in the elevator. I don't even know if there was more people in the single riders line. But yeah, we were in the elevator. I was in the corner. I was standing like this. My face was obviously scared. So I just stood there like this. The guy walked immediately next to me. Well, he walked in first because he was in front of me. Then he walked into one side. And then I walked into the opposite side because, you know, I don't want to stand next to someone. It was kind of weird. Not really weird. I just don't like standing to men in general. The guy looked like he was in his late 20s, so, you know, I was definitely a teen still. It was kind of creepy. So I stood on the opposite side, and then that couple came in, and I just stood there because I felt so much more relief because they were there, or double couple, whatever. So we were standing there, and as soon as the elevator started, he scooted to stand close to me. And it got really uncomfortable. My face was terrified. Like, I think they started to notice. I saw one of the girls look at her boyfriend, and he kind of just looked at her. And she kept looking at me just to make sure that I wasn't like in a bad situation. Because the guy, I'm short. I am 5'1" now. I was probably 5, yeah. I was probably 4'9" or 5 at the time. I've grown. I'm so proud of it. But yeah, so I was standing there. The guy was definitely taller than me, and he kept doing this. He just kept staring at me, and since I was down here, he just kept staring at me like this, and I could feel it. I even looked up at him, and he did this. He smiled at me. It was the most uncomfortable thing. It was super creepy. As soon as the elevator door opened, I walked so fast. So he catched up to me. He like speed walked, or I actually speed walked too, but he like started, I don't know how, I mean, he does have longer legs, or he did have longer legs, so he walked super fast and he catched up to me, and that couple was taking their time, you know, they were like whatever, they were between their friends, and the lady started to separate us. So he ended up in the first row of the cart, and I ended up on the second row. And he kept trying to get my attention, and it got really uncomfortable because we were literally standing right next to the different rows, and I just started getting really weirded out. And then one of the guy's girlfriends got sent to where I was, So she was standing behind me, and then that girl's boyfriend was all the way at the end. He was the second to last cart, so he's definitely all the way in the back. And then the other guy actually got paired with his girlfriend, so he got super lucky. And I felt so uncomfortable that I had like a spur of the moment idea. I looked at her, I turned around, and I was like, do you want to switch places? Do you want to switch places with me? You can be with your boyfriend and all this stuff. And she's like, oh really? That's so sweet. So I ran to the end, and I'm like, oh, I'm switching places with you so you can be with your girlfriend. He said that was really cool, whatever. And then the guy, let's call him Glasses Guy, because I feel like I'm getting you guys confused with the girl's boyfriend. But so the Glasses Guy turns around, goes to a Disney worker, and he's like, can I go with her? Like, he pointed, and he's like, can I go with her? And she said, do you know her? And he's like, yeah. Oh my gosh, she's sitting in chills. I did not look and turn. Like, I did not want to turn and look at him. I was too scared in case she said yes. Like, it was really freaking me out to the point where I was like, what am I going to do when I get off, right? But I was at the end, so I took an advantage of that. But if he was sent to the end, then how was I going to outrun this guy, you know? So she actually probably had a really bad day, because she turned around and she was like, when she asked, do you know her? And he said, yeah. She's like, well, then you shouldn't have written as single riders if you wanted to ride together. So relieved. I don't know who I rode with. I think I got a lone cart. But, so the ride went, I had fun, I was safe, everything was good. Like, you know in your body like freezes up, it feels fear when something is wrong. That's what happened with me, and it started in the elevator when he went in, like, when he kept trying to get close to me. It was insanely uncomfortable. I don't think I've ever been in that same situation. But, yeah, this might seem like super boring to you guys, but yeah, it was, in the moment, it was super terrifying. So, as soon as the ride ended, I took off the thing, ran down, whoever the person was, I don't even know who was next to me. I think I might have been the first person if there was anyone next to me. Took it off, walked out as fast as I could, went to go look at the picture, and as I turn around to go back to where my mom is, guess who's literally standing right here? Seriously, like, right here. As he's standing, like, right here, I turn around and I'm like, you should have seen my face. I was terrified. And he's like, so do you want to go around the park together? And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I have to go find my mom. And I booked it. And the guy, I don't know what I did. I went around the bathroom. Yeah, I went around the carousel, and it leads to the bathroom. So I went around the bathroom, and I walked by where, like, the food stands were, back to where you could see the people on the carts get blasted off onto the California Screamin'. Like, you could see them, like, lift off or whatever. So I ran all the way around, and I went into, I guess that's considered a pier, and I found my mom, and I was like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. I don't want to be here anymore, I don't want to be here anymore. And she told me why I didn't report him, and I actually didn't know if I could report him. He honestly didn't do anything. More than anything, he scared me to death. He did get insanely close to me a lot of times. So I guess that could have been a way to report him. And like I'm saying, it's not Disney's fault. Like, literally they have nothing to do with it. It just happened there. But yeah, so that happened. I hope I didn't bore you too much with my story. But yeah, so it feels really strange finally telling this to you guys, because I feel like a weight's been lifted from me. I'm really hoping that he didn't do that to any other girl, but I guess that if you've experienced something like that at Disneyland with a guy who seems to fit the description, then I'd like you to comment down below, and hopefully we can find him and report him, because if he's done this to more than me or you, then it's an actual problem, you know? So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening to my story, and I hope I didn't bore you too much, but yeah, I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!